Explain to us how the dating pool is at the moment.
For me, dating pool is non-existent, or I should say it's trash. I'm just say it's bad. What I don't want ever, like what I don't want to happen ever again in my relationships or this is get to a point where somebody messages and says, "Okay, so what are we? What are we? What is this? What are we doing?" My biggest fear is about being in a relationship. I think maybe not measuring up to someone else's expectation or vision of what I should be.
A movie that describes your love life right now.
You know what? Candyman.
Wow.
I'm scared.
Explain. Welcome to the Love Leep Podcast. We're your hosts, Adam
and Anisha Leeper, just a couple of young millennials who took the leap from dating to married life. We're here to share the journey with you.
Expect candid conversations with us and our guests, covering everything from the first dates to the early years of marriage.
So take the leap with us on the Love Leep Podcast.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Love Leep Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Adam.
And I'm Anisha.
The Leapers. And we have on one of our first living single guests. So this is a different segment of episodes that we're going to do that we're calling Living Single. And we want to get the scoop on what's happening in the world, post-pandemic with the dating life. So we have on one of our very good friends, a brother, not just in Kappa, but in real life.
My little treacherous twin.
Demetrius Odom. Demetri.
What's up, you guys? How y'all doing today? Glad to be here.
We're so happy to have you. So
Finally.
just a little heads up. If y'all hear me hacking and coughing, I am just now getting over having the flu and pneumonia at the same time. So
yikes.
1-2 punch. So I'm better now. So we're gonna get into a little bit. We're gonna talk a little bit how we know each other. Because we all have to do that. We do that every single time. Adam has known Meech a lot longer than I have.
Yeah, actually, I think so. It's funny. I ran across Meech in 2014 at Pitt's probate.
Mm-hmm.
This was like the same weekend that Jordan had crossed, and we all drove down from Slippery Rock. I was an interest at that point, and we met at the probate. I don't remember if I specifically met you, but I remember you being out there at that show for sure, because you guys were in suits. It was outside, and it was like the first, I guess, outside. Well, that was debates I ever saw.
Yeah, that would have been. Was that Herb's probate or Leaf's probate? Maybe
Leaf.
Or like
it was
that
Leaf's,
line.
And because Herb was
yeah.
Was he the dean? No, he was the ADP, I think, or something.
He was ADP. Yeah, I was the dean of that line. Yeah. I definitely do remember that. It was a good time. Knowing me, I was probably being mixy all over the place, but I do remember meeting you, and 100%.
We were acting weird because they had us in like the back, and then we saw another group of interests in the back in school.
Yeah, we put all the interest in the back of the probate. Oh, yeah, it's coming back to me now.
Yeah. That's so hot.
It was definitely very messy. Like,
that is real.
And then didn't we make you all leave as soon as it was over?
Yes. Because we didn't. Yeah, we left as soon as it was over. I don't remember anything after that as far as like if we went to the party. I don't think we did. I think we just, I don't know what we did after that, but I remember because they did like they started singing because Herb sings a bit. So it was like a little barbershop quartet to bring in the line.
And it was outside. Yes.
So that's you couldn't be a part of it because you were just interested.
I was interested at the time. So then ever since then, because Dre and Meech are close, so ever since then we would pop in and out. But I don't think the next time
that we saw Meech was at the what is the New Year's? The New Year's party.
No, I had been with
you
Meech
saw
before
you
that.
saw, yeah.
Meech and
Yeah.
I got closer. I think we
When you
really
guys went to
bonded
Canada.
when we went to Canada for Dre's
Yeah, it was
bachelor.
Ray's bachelor party. Yes, 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 yes. I remember that. I remember you being on the phone
Boo loving.
with,
He
yeah,
was loving. He was
with
on.
you. I mean, I actually remember that because I want to say that was around the time I spatched you, and I remember I kept coming the hallway. I was like, "Is you on the phone with her again, nigga? Come on."
It was an
If it's
unofficial special.
No, yeah.
one thing that me and Adam gonna do, we're gonna sit on the phone. That's what we're gonna do. We're
Well,
gonna sit on the phone.
I think that was a special time because you were flying and you couldn't take off for your birthday.
It doesn't matter. Regardless, we be on the phone.
That time was a little bit different because it was.
We just be listening to each other breathe.
It was during our birthday weekend.
Yeah, our birthday weekends, and we couldn't.
Caravana and OVO Fest was like that.
Mhm.
Yes, it blended. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I remember that too. And I remember I think I said it to Dre. I was like, "Yo, Nia out there sitting in the hallway for 2 hours. Is he all right?" Dre like, "Nah, he good. He just talking." And I was like, "Damn." And I want to say this is before I met Nisha, and I was like, "Damn, he in love. I like that though. I respect it. You know, protect him at all costs."
One
You know,
thing,
everybody try to be mixy. He like, "Nah, I can't." We just like, "All right, leave Adam in the room. We out."
one thing me say every single time he sees us, y'all really in love. 'Cause we did, okay, so then the first time that I technically had met Meech was at the New Year's party,
Yes.
Yes.
and you were dating somebody at that point in time, but that was my first time meeting you. And what was the one of the main things that Meech said was, "Oh, y'all definitely gonna have sex tonight." Because he always says that. He will always say that to us. He would just look at us.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All,
Like,
all
what?
the energy in the world, all the energy in the house. I said, "Oh, okay, this
What
too." This
me?
because I
Like
want
y'all.
to say there were well, we were all pretty. Everybody in the house at for New Year's were all couples, I think, except for maybe Vash. I think she was maybe single at the time, but I think everybody had their partner there.
Jordan didn't.
And
Jordan.
Jordan didn't. Okay.
Yeah, Jordan was single. I thought.
Okay, but that was that was like a little messy New Year's, and we ain't gonna get in their business because that was.
Okay.
Because
But
Dave was.
okay,
Yeah,
we're
okay.
not getting everybody.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. You're right. Okay.
It was real mixy there, but it was fun nonetheless. Besides me and Jordan almost beating that man up when we were coming back from the bar.
Yes.
Yep.
Other than that, it was great. It was a time.
People lost IDs. It was a good time. It was a good time.
It was great.
You had what a change. You had a separate change of clothes.
Oh my god!
Yes, I had my New Year outfit, and I was ready for my going out outfit.
Just kept changing.
He's like, we brought in the new year. All right, it's time to go out. Hold on, let me go change.
Let me go change.
Like I wore this one outfit here. I didn't bring a change of clothes.
I think
Yeah,
around
man.
that time is when I started really putting you on the cash down a little bit more. Let's see.
Yes.
The next event would have been the engagement.
Yes. Major event was the engagement party.
Yep. Yeah, that would have been the engagement party, but we went to little events. And we can think about the wine festival.
Was that pre-engagement, post-engagement?
Post.
That was pre. That was post. Oh yeah. Okay. Wine festival. I remember. Yeah. Oh, this is probably wedding or wedding rehearsal. This was Akron.
No.
Okay.
Wine and crab festival, Baltimore.
Yes. Yeah. No, I know that. Yeah, that was Baltimore.
That was before wedding stuff. Yeah, that was before wedding stuff. After engagement. But we just got to talk about how you walked in and didn't want nothing to eat and then immediately just started downing wine. And it
I promise you, I probably tasted every single wine that was there.
I know you
pretty
did.
confident I did.
I know you did because it was me, you, and Ashley were walking around together And
Yep.
Adam was like, okay, just make sure y'all are okay. And you were like, going into that queue, and he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, you're on the wrong side of 1911. That sucks. Like it's ugly. I don't like." And I'm like, "Wait a minute," and he just was like, "Huh?" I was like, "Oh my god,
I
Ashley's,
remember,
you gotta relax."
and I remember like specifically from this event why it was so bad was because when we got there, everybody was like, "I'm hungry, I'm hungry," and I remember I said this to y'all verbatimly. I said, "I didn't come here to eat. I'm gonna go ahead and drink while y'all stand in this line."
He
And baby,
did.
when I tell you that might have been the worst decision and the best decision.
Well, also to give some like backstory, you and Leaf got there late.
Yeah, y'all did. Y'all got there late.
Yes,
Very
So
and that's why I was rushing. I was trying to catch up.
yeah, and then you surpassed us.
and we're sitting there trying to hassle with the man talking about some. Why don't you just give me the bottle? And he was like, I can't give you that. We'll just keep pouring it, but you just don't keep pouring it. You might as well just give me the
Because it
bottle.
was
Just
close.
give me the bottle.
He
Hey,
found a table where the guy was
he
being
was
very
not
heavy-handed.
having it. He's like, just go ahead and give me the bottle. He's like,
And
I can't do that.
you, so real quick, and do you know like post that, right? I woke up and I went to leave. I said, "Did I do anything crazy? How did you get me home?" And that's because I don't know if you guys remember, I parked at my job. And so I had to walk through my store to get to my car.
Right.
And Leaf said he just carried me through the store to the car. He was like, "I don't think anybody saw you." To this day, no one's ever brought it up. But yeah, it was it was a time.
Because I thought
We
that
didn't
you
know
guys
that.
parked in. Because when I talked to Khalif, I was like, during that time, I remember him saying like, "Yeah, we just found parking. We're coming up." He didn't tell me where they found parking at,
And I
so I
know which
thought,
store you're talking about because that's where we parked at when we went to go drinking that one day on the strip.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh my god.
nice.
Yeah, no, you didn't make it back out any of the festivities. That was one of our birthday weekend little get-togethers.
Hmm.
Um, and then we did we did Miami for our bachelor and bachelorette party, and Meech was sleeping in the club most of the time.
Yes. Oh my God, it's been for all the things.
I think
Miami, Miami
fucking
was a time.
Which was funny because in Miami, he came in on 10 like, "Hey, we ain't doing this. We're not taking naps. Like we're on go." And
and was
then
sleeping in the club.
sleep in the club.
I think I was working nights. I think everything just caught up to me at that one day, that one particular day. I still remember I was wearing a green shirt. My tummy was out. It was
His stomach
crazy, but it was.
out, sleep. He was slumped. And then the next thing that would have been instead of Meech being drunk, you got drunk when he special you at the bar.
Yes.
At the wedding, yes.
Yeah, that was that was a lot. Adam was off his rocker that night. So as you can see, we always have fun times with Meech.
Great
It's
memories.
never a dull moment.
But
Always love.
lose focus. Tell the people a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I mean, specifically to go to this topic, so I live in DC. Let me throw my stats out there in case somebody listening they want to know. I'm 34, live in DC. Been there now for, well, I've been back now for roughly 6 months, but prior to that, I lived there for 4 years. Kind of lived all over, as you guys alluded to earlier. Been to Pittsburgh, DC, Chicago all day, Atlanta, and Toronto. So I've lived in all those places. Consistently like to move around and get around, and yeah, and currently single. Single and kind of talking to someone, but we can get more into that later and discuss and my feelings on that. But yeah, absolutely.
We definitely will. If you dive into that, we will dive into that.
Where are you going? You going first? Oh, you don't have your phone.
No, yeah, kick it off.
How you don't have a phone?
It's in my pocket. You'll be fine.
All right.
All
So we're
right.
gonna see how everything is going right now. So go ahead and
How to put it? I think me living in DC, DC, if those who don't know, DC is a very like fast-paced city. And it's one of those cities where everybody either wants what they want now or they don't want to wait. I'll give you an example too. There was this one guy I was talking to. Well, actually, I met him. Let's say I met him on a Monday. The following Monday, in the DMs, like, "Hey, what's up? What you want to do?" I'm like, "Okay, cool, we can chill." On a Wednesday, why aren't we chill yet? See, I'm not going to keep chasing you. I don't chase. Yeah, it's very fast moving, right? Like it's just like, this is week two, my guy. Why are we? What are we talking about chasing? Um, but it is there. I won't harp and say that it's not there and that it's not impossible to do. But I think now, like with social media and so many things being at people's fingertips, I think our attention span is like a little less, and so the dating pool has been smaller too. What I find is at this age, everybody's either already coupled up and or married, and those who are not looking either. So it's kind of like, where do you want to play the game? Do you want to just talk to folks, hang out, have fun, or do you want to start dating with intention? And I think that's kind of the piece that I'm starting to look into now is dating with intention, and being able to kind of decipher between the two.
So how has that changed, like the dating with intention versus the former, the first one? How has that changed with you being in DC now? So, where you were more carefree probably at the beginning of your like 4.5 years living there, but now since you're back and you want to be
Yeah,
more intentional, how's that changed for you?
yeah. I mean, I think it's a lot of different facets, right? So, um, I think prior to DC, let's go back to leaving DC. So when I was in DC the first time, as you all know, I was in a relationship. So I was in a COVID relationship, honestly. And so I had been in a relationship for roughly 3 years during my 4 years in DC. And that ended, amicably, non-amicably, who knows? Let them tell it was me. Let me tell it was
I
them.
want that back. I want that
we
back.
can, we can. And so I was dating for 4 years, and then so immediately after when I ended my relationship, I had probably like close to a year stint in DC before I moved to Toronto. And when I got to Toronto, I will say the dating pool, and like I'm sorry, I'm jumping around, I'm just talking, but the dating pool, maybe because it's a different country, like the dating pool is still bad, but I felt like it was more accessible in Toronto, or maybe I felt that way because I was new to the country or
Mm-hmm.
to Canada. And so, but when I got to Canada, I was actually very intentional in not dating. And so people would say, "Hey, let's hang out. We're going to do more." And I would tell them, "I'm here to just be your friend and nothing else." And honestly, a lot of my friend groups wanted to date me in Toronto initially, but I was like, "Hey, no, I just want to be friends. I just want to meet people and get to know the lay of the land." And it kind of transitioned into that for the entire time that I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, with that being said, coming back to the States, I was like, "Hey, maybe it's time to start looking with intention at this point," because I realized kind of what I missed about my first relationship and what I kind of wanted to emulate there, but still have that kind of freedom piece, I guess, if you will. So that's the mindset with it.
Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and move into some more questions. So, do you believe in soulmates?
Okay, hot take. Do I believe in soulmates? I believe in soulmates with an S. Yes.
Mm.
I do believe that you can find someone or some people that you are attached to in different ways, and there should never be, well, there doesn't necessarily have to be a one all be all the time, right? Um, a prime example is like, I practice monogamy, but I can believe and understand consensual, like polyamory, right? Like I understand that. I understand how that works. And I think people can truly like love more than one sometimes, or find their soul or have different soulmates at times in their lives, right? Like when you're younger, I feel like some people can have a soulmate that brings them through that season. And then later on, they find another soulmate that brings them to the next season because we all change. So yeah, I do believe in those things. And hell, I wish I could find one, but maybe I don't.
You have
Although I believe in it, maybe I'm not figuring it out. What's that?
one. He's gone though.
I will say, okay, he might have been my soulmate. Like we still converse every once in a while too.
Do
Um,
you?
yes,
Love
yeah,
for you guys.
yeah. And they were actually super big on, hey, when we're done, we're not going to be friends. But I pushed it, and then we still like acquaintances. I wouldn't say friends, but
That's
acquaintances.
because you guys
Absolutely.
are soulmates.
Is it messy if we go into that? Like, what happened
No,
there?
go into it. Yeah. So as far as the relationship goes,
Yeah, take us through it.
Yeah,
And yeah,
let's hear some hot gossip about that.
yeah. So, like dated this person, as you know, like almost 4 years, and it was good. But I will say COVID probably played a lot into that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was a point in time we were all on lockdown. You all know this, and we were around each other 24/7. And I think a lot of that was there was different expectations with that. There was times where I'll give you an example. Obviously we both had our own place, but I found myself over his place more often because he wanted me to be there. And then when there's just times when I'm like, hey, I just want to go home, I want to chill, it was, well, I'll come with you. No, you stay here. I'm gonna go home and decompress and chill, and I'll come back. Um, and it was that attachment. And I think it was mostly on my end too, because I really wasn't used to that type of attachment. Being prior to him, I had been single for, let's chop it up and say 8 years,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that independence piece was still there. And it was learning to kind of understand another person and not even compromise, but work with kind of and develop that. And like that was kind of the piece there that didn't work. And then of course there was stress issues here and there. And then there was stress issues. There were what I'd say like attachment issues, for lack
Mm-hmm.
of a better term. And I think that's kind of what dissolved it ultimately. So what happened was, they were in the military, and they had gotten orders to go to Florida, and then they were in Florida for I want to say roughly 60 days. But within that 60 days, it just kind of fizzled out, and we realized like, hey, this isn't going to work.
Did
But
you not?
fun fact,
Oh, go
oh, go
ahead.
ahead. No, no, go ahead.
No, I want to
I
hear
was
your
just
fun.
about to say something smart, but
No, go ahead.
fun fact, okay. And then I see a picture of the next person they're talking to, and I show my friend. My friend was like, he looks at the picture, looks at me, looks at the picture, looks at me, and goes, "Is that your doppelganger?" I said, "Don't it look like me?"
You have to show us this later. No,
Yeah.
I was you guys didn't have like any talks of like because around that time like COVID was just like one of those things where it just like opened up a lot of doors for people with trauma and stuff like that, and a lot of people were getting into therapy at that point in time. You
hmm
guys didn't think of like wanting to go to therapy or anything like that to like figure that stuff out?
Um, you know what? We talked, to be honest with you, we had brought it up for a second, but based on our backgrounds at the time, we were just like, nah, we don't need this shit. We can figure it out. And I think that was kind of looking back at it now that I think about it was probably a bad idea. It was something that we could have used. I also think that when you're dating somebody and you bring in therapy, depending on how long you've been dating that person or where you're at in that relationship, it can be scary if A, you don't see it going any further than just dating, or if you're not ready for it to go into like that, hey, maybe we'll get married, maybe we're gonna really do this, maybe we're gonna move in together. And I think those were all some like kind of facets to it.
I was gonna say you guys didn't see it going further than that then.
I didn't at the end of the day. I think they definitely did. And I will say they probably did definitely want it to work, but I think I had, not think I know at some point, during our relationship, I knew that it wasn't going to work for me, just on based on how it was going. And so, yeah, and essentially I'm the one who broke it off. So I bowed out gracefully in that situation, to kind of explain, hey, this isn't going to work just because we're like, as good as we are together, we're so different. And it was the differences that I just didn't think we were able to get over.
Mm.
which is interesting because we're huge advocates when it comes to not just your own therapy, but couples therapy, especially as early on as you can potentially get it. Now,
Okay.
you bring up an interesting point on the dating with intention piece of, if when you introduce that, it can be interesting. Like is that does that mean it's a signal that we're moving forward in a meaningful way towards marriage or what have you, or is it just kind of practice? I mean, I could see the use case for both of like, hey,
Yeah.
even if it's money you're kind of investing at the end of the day, but and some people can think they're wasting it, but even if you don't get married, wouldn't it? I could see it being beneficial
Beneficial.
still
I was gonna say the same thing.
of figuring those things
Yeah.
out, not just
Hmm.
about yourself, but how you interact with another human being in a relationship in that way.
Maybe it felt like it was like too real. Like if we do therapy,
Then I
it's
gotta do that.
I have to do therapy, and this is gonna go a little bit. This is getting a little bit more serious. I wanted to be a bridesmaid, so
Okay. No, and so I think both of what you're saying is correct, right? I think dating with intention, you have to know what your intentions are, right? And so when I say I'm dating with intentions now, my intentions are for a long-term relationship. I may not be looking toward marriage just yet in my life, but I am looking for like long term. Nothing that is just wham bam, thank you, ma'am, for lack of a better term, friends with benefits. Had that, still got that, but we want to date with intention. And so I agree with you. I think back then I wasn't dating with intention. I was dating to date, and it was a convenient time, maybe even for both of us. It was like it wasn't too much to do. All we did was have each other, so we kept each other company without us going crazy by ourselves, I guess. Like when you hear stories about people who were stuck in homes by themselves, I didn't actually experience that because I had somebody I came home to, and I also was working in the field at the time as well. So I had that connection. But post pandemic, I realized like, hey, okay, this probably wouldn't have worked hadn't the pandemic hit, if that makes sense.
so talking about relationships, what are some things that you love about being in a relationship?
Oh man. Okay, yeah. So my love language is was it acts of service? Yeah.
Yes.
So my love language is acts of service, and I like to receive that, and I like to give that as well. And if the right relationship, acts of service is big for me, right? So just being able to do for people, I love being able to like curate an entire evening and dinner and night out. Like I love doing that. I love seeing smiles on the faces. I love just hearing exactly what you were saying like maybe 2 months ago and getting that for you in some type of way, shape, or form, or kind of building that out. I enjoy that piece of relationship. And then I also love, or I enjoy about a relationship is connection, just talking, um, connecting, physical touch. Those are all like pieces of a relationship that I do miss. And then what I don't like about it, granted, I know you didn't ask me, I'm going to, what I don't like about a relationship that I need to learn with is I always use this phrase, we have our own bubbles. Don't infringe on my bubble and I won't infringe on yours, but our bubbles can come together. Um, I guess it's, and you might be able to have to help me out. It's the consistent having to check in. Like I'd love to check in. I don't mind checking in, but when you start to put parameters on what I do and how I do, I think that's where I start to get kind of
So
wishy about it.
hovering, like
Say it
the
again.
like hovering, like um, why didn't you text me when you got in the house,
Yes, yes,
mommy?
things like that.
Okay, okay, I got you. Okay, I mean, I feel like that's kind of mostly in most relationships and stuff like that. They have their little quirks and stuff like that, and you start kind of figuring that stuff out. Same way, everybody needs their own space. You know,
Hmm.
eventually, we can sit on the couch and he can be doing his own thing and I'm doing my own thing, but we're by each other, so it's like filling me
Yes,
up. But I just need some time. I'm overstimulated. I just don't want to talk, you know. But I
I
understand
agree.
what you're saying about like that, the checking in and stuff like that. Sometimes it could just be, but just like last night, I forgot to check in last night and I was asleep. And he's like, "What time did you get to the hotel?" I was like, baby, I was out. Okay, I was out.
I figured because she was, well, I mean, we were gonna be waking up super early, so
Yeah,
I figured
I worked like a
Yeah,
weird flight,
if I
so it
didn't
was
get a text from you in the morning, then it's gonna be a problem.
yeah.
So
but
So
and so what's really cool with what you're saying is like you understand each other's, you know each other's schedules. You can kind of anticipate that. I think in dating, especially now, um, folks aren't getting to that point, but they're jumping to the check-ins, the hovering. Does that make sense? Like they're
mm,
not getting to know and understand like, okay, my job is demanding. I work 13-hour shifts, or hey, I'm flying all over the place. They're not getting to that. They're just they want these expectations of a relationship without actually learning the other person. And I think that is also part of my dating with intention now is the person I'm talking to now, I am very adamant, okay, you work in like the service industry, so I understand like your schedule's gonna be like this. So if I message you and you don't message me back to like 10 o'clock, probably because you're at the restaurant all day. And if you're not, you're not. But like that's my assumption, right? And I can understand that. And I think, yeah, today's dating doesn't, again, everything is so fast paced. No one's taking their time anymore,
they all
unfortunately,
want boyfriend and girlfriend titles without committing.
without the commitment and without understanding what that commitment, like how to commit. Does that make sense? Like everybody wants a purview of this quote unquote cliche cookie cutter commitment, but doesn't work for everybody. Yeah.
and is that with or without setting boundaries up front? Like is that something that you're doing or that you're seeing with like friends groups or you know
Yeah.
the gay community out there? Like are you seeing them set boundaries and it's just being blown off or
let's throwing in the gay community is a whole nother one too. We can get into that there. But
I'm gonna
whew, there's a whole psychology on that I can go into. But no, I agree. So exactly that. It's setting boundaries. So for me, I speak for myself. I set boundaries date two, if not date one, depending on how jazzy I'm feeling, how comfortable I'm feeling with you. I'm setting boundaries. I'm letting you know what I expect, what I don't like, what I do like. That's emotional boundaries, physical boundaries, and sexual boundaries. I make sure all of it's kind of put out there, at least by date two, date three, so we all understand like what we're looking for and what like let's figure this out. And then we can go down the road of, hey, if this is going to be a relationship, or is this going to be like a friends with benefit, or is this going to be this? Like I don't want to happen ever again in my relationships, or this is get to a point where somebody messages you and says, okay, so what are we? What are we? What is this? What are we doing? That blows my mind. And in the past, I understood because I didn't set boundaries.
Mhm.
But like, oh, I thought we were dating and we were in a relationship. Like, this is not what you think it is. Okay, let me backtrack. Let me understand where the miscommunication happened. So yeah.
It's okay. I text Adam that when he like forgets. So what are we? Because
oh
I'm
my
so
god.
confused. Understanding. Okay, so since we talked about things that you do and do not like, what's some of your biggest fears about being in a relationship again?
Oh man, vulnerability, right? You gotta make
Mm,
me vulnerable here. No, shit. I think maybe not measuring up to someone else's expectation or vision
mm,
of what I should be. I'm very like again independent where I'm saying like I don't want to measure up. Like you got to figure it out. But it's going through that nuance, that dance, and not realizing it until 10 years down the road. Oh, they'll never be what I want them to be.
Mm.
Um, and because I truly believe you can't change people. I think people stop changing at like the age of 10. Like you can't influence anybody else more than what they want to be influenced, especially at our ripe age of 30 plus. A grown man is set in his ways. I would say a grown man is set in his ways. A grown woman is set in her ways 9 times out of 10, right?
mm,
And that's okay. It's just I don't want to have to figure that out 8, 9 years down the road. I would
mm.
rather like us understand and get that. And I think that's where my biggest fear is because in the beginning, it's always fucking cats and rainbows and love bombing each other and just a ha 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 until you come to that point in a relationship where you're like, fuck, do I want this? And I know it'll happen. Hell, I hear it happens with married couples all the time. Like it happens, but then understanding and going back, like, okay, why am I saying this? And finding like, okay, I get it. I get it. This is probably what it is. I need to just make this adjustment versus like, hey, we should call it quits. And I think that's one of the biggest things there too.
Mm.
Now, and I know you had touched on it about like the community. Again, I can't speak for the heterosexual community. Love y'all. Um, dating in the gay community is a little rough because, hot take, black gay community is rough because they try to adopt heterosexual, like heteronormatives in a homosexual relationship, right? They want someone to be kind of the aspect of what they envision to be a wife, what they envision to be a husband, what they envision to be a provider, a homemaker, like passive and dominant, right? Down to sexual preference.
Mm.
And not saying that doesn't happen in our counterpart space, right? Because I'm sure it does. But what I've experienced and what I've seen is that when it's in a black space, it is way more ingrained because of the way we are raised and the way we are set for expectations. And regardless of how our sexuality turns out, we are still very much raised in the way of the church, raised in the way of our households, raised in the way that our grandmothers and grandfathers have set boundaries for us, right? Where I see in our counterparts though, they do that, but it's so much more fluid. It's like, oh, you got it, I got it. You do this, I do that. And maybe I am not understanding. I don't understand. Well, I do understand where those dynamics come from, but it's working with somebody to kind of break that mold, if you will.
Hmm.
And I see like the relationships I do see in my community that do last a long time, they break the mold. If you really look and see how they do and what they do, there is no type of, oh, you're the passive one, so you're expected to like when somebody right, like, you hear this, oh, who's the girl and who's the guy in a relationship?
Mm.
Like that can be probably one of the most problematic things, but unfortunately, we do emulate it, even though up front people tell you don't fucking say that to me. We do emulate it, and I think that's part of the issue, especially dating gay in today.
So now, was it different? Is it different being in DC in the community? Is the community a lot smaller in DC? Was it bigger in Atlanta? How was
Yeah.
it dating in Atlanta versus like dating in DC versus dating in Canada versus dating in
Oh man,
Yeah, Mr. Worldwide.
yeah, worldwide?
those are all actually really good questions. So DC's pool is better. Like a better term, it is more mature,
Mm.
uh, more elite, depending on what you're looking for. Atlanta is bigger. It's Atlanta, but it's bigger. But there's also a lot more good and bad. There's a lot more bullshit, if you will, in Atlanta, right? Because it's bigger, more accessible. So you can be more of a notch in someone's belt in Atlanta. I mean, you can in DC as well, but you're more likely to be a notch in someone's belt in Atlanta, whereas DC, you might be more likely to find somebody if they're not already taken or in a relationship. Uh, that's its own problem. Um, Chicago, Chicago was fun. I think when I was in Chicago, I was still young. Chicago is a little harder because in Chicago, I find that people in Chicago are born in Chicago, they stay in Chicago, and some are not open open to living their lifestyle out in Chicago as much. So it's tougher in Chicago. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's much tougher. And Toronto, all that is different. In Toronto, it's like, okay, let's just do this, let's just try. But it's a lot more free going. But it's a catch 22 because it's so free going. You find a lot of people in Chicago in my community have multiple partners, or like they're in a relationship, they have an open relationship. So
Mm.
like that's kind of where like you get turned onto those different things there too. Again, that's everywhere, but in Toronto, I think because it is such a um, I say salad, not melting pot, a salad of people and communities and cultures that it's very good. You have a European concept, you have a Jamaican concept, you have an
Mm.
Chinese. Like I mean, hell, you can get whatever flavor of food you like there. Okay. And I think that's part of it. It's so many different cultures and aspects, but when you talk about these things with them, it's a very different mindset than when you talk to an American about a relationship. I would say that. Like I would say in Canada and people I've talked to in Europe, they're more willing to be open and have a conversation or maybe an open relationship. Whereas if I talk to an American about that, it's a, oh hell no, I ain't with that. Mine is mine, which is fine, right? Like no shade to you, but that's why I go back to what I was saying. Like you know, I believe in monogamy, but I'm open to attempting um, consensual polyamory. But we'll see. Like it's nothing I will push on it, but like if it came up, I'm like, all right, we can try this out. We can figure it out. Let's see.
You forgot
But
my
setting
favorite
boundaries.
city in the world,
What's
Pittsburgh.
that? Pittsburgh. Oh man. So
Okay.
I didn't date in Pittsburgh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't even speak to Pittsburgh. I really didn't date in Pittsburgh. I probably dated when I was in high school. Well, that wasn't nothing. Turned out, oh, never mind. But I didn't really get to date in Pittsburgh. So between school, work, and everything, like I was talking to folks, but I wasn't dating because I also was still in a place of like diving into my sexuality when I was in Pittsburgh. And so, like, again, speaking to that aspect of it, it was a little bit more difficult for me to want to date or date because I also wasn't ready to do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, figure that out and do that. And so it wasn't until later on where I started moving around to different cities that I was able to actually do that.
He was worried about slapping pro fights.
That is true. That is very true.
First
Me too.
Neo to slap a pro fight.
Yes, me too worried about slapping pro fights.
Crazy tweet.
Okay, let's see. So, what's the biggest misconception people have about being single?
Okay. That we like it?
Really?
That we like it. We're always the belle of the ball, like the party, like the person, like the single, like, oh, that's my single friend. He's always like, nah. I say that's the biggest misconception. Most single people, guys and girls, don't really want to be single. Now, they could be taking a break from whatever their life has brought to them, but most of us don't want to be single. Nah,
I hated
not at
being.
all.
I didn't like
Agreed.
that was
Exactly.
that I liked doing. I was
Yeah.
always like, I want to be in a relationship. I have to be in a relationship. I can't be single. It's just not becoming of me. It's just
Like the first month of a rebound phase is like, oh yeah, I'm really out here. I'm about to do this, that, and the
I'm in
third.
the streets, and then here you are.
And you
I love
tired,
you. I
Boom.
love you. Okay, bye.
tired of the streets.
I'll give you that. Like, and don't get me wrong. I love, okay, I just said oxymoron. I love being single, but I don't like it. Okay. Like
Mm.
when I'm single, I'm gonna make the best of it. And yeah, I'm sure like when you're single, you could do a lot more things, I guess, than you can with your relationship. But being in a relationship and being with a companion is like complete different. Like everybody, I feel like everybody wants that. Absolutely.
It's fun over here. I promise.
Yeah, I was made for the sidewalks, not the streets.
Exactly.
That's why they make them. Everybody
And
can
so
be.
I'll say I think that goes back to the soulmate thing, right? Finding your soulmate that blends well with you, right? Because I know couples that are like in the streets, they for the streets, but they're in the streets consistently, and it works for them, right? Like they're very lively.
Like they be out here like that. I thought you meant
Well,
like they be in the streets together, like we be having fun, like
no,
like
yeah, like that. No, 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 no. Like having fun,
like
going out together.
club,
Say it again.
like going to the swingers club.
Like they acting single, but they're
Oh,
together.
You're scaring me,
no,
Meek. You're
no,
scaring me.
no, 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 no. That's not what I mean. That's not. Let me correct. No, I mean that they are doing, how to say this, doing everything a single person would do, minus the talking to somebody else, right? Like as a unit.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense. You mean okay, like how we be kicking it,
Yeah, yeah. Just like yeah,
the fun stuff. We be still at the hookah bars. I still be dancing on tables.
yeah.
It's
Because
fun.
I will say that is for some single people, that is a fear of being in a relationship. They don't want to be bored or they want to get boring. Let me say that. They don't want to get boring. They don't want to be like, because some of us look at a relationship as not a chore, but like, okay, I have to give this up, I have to give that up. It goes along with like having kids. People
Yeah.
like to think that now that I have a child, I can't do X, Y, Z. And I disagree with that statement. But then again, I also don't have children, so I don't know what it would take for that. But yeah.
No, and it's not even anything like that. Honestly, like when you see, I don't know, maybe I don't know. I don't know if you can agree with me, but like when we go out and stuff like that, like especially if it's like a whole group of us and you know like how our group is, I enjoy watching Adam get lit and have fun with y'all
Hmm.
and like start strolling and I be sitting over there like, that's my man, that's my man. You know, it's fun for me because I like to see him have fun. The same way I'm sure he hates when I start running after I'm drunk because that's just one thing that I do. But I find it, you know, it's fun to watch him have fun and enjoy himself. And that's like one thing that we've always discussed in our marriage is have your own hobbies, have your own things to do.
Hmm.
I love to do stuff with you, but sometimes I need my own time to go do what I want to do. He golfs, he wants me to come sometimes. I'd be like, that's your thing. You know, I'm okay. I might pop in every so often. You know, we did jujitsu together and stuff like that. But regardless, some of the classes I would go to by myself and then he would go to by himself. So it's always about making sure that you still have, you know, your own identity inside of a marriage. You can't be Adam and Anisha the whole time. You have to be Adam when he's by himself. You have to
Hmm.
be when you're by yourself. And then most of the time, I mean, y'all, most people look for the person that you're with, but they still know that you have your own identity. And
Exactly.
it's just kind of how it has to be.
Yeah, I think it's so important because the relationship grows as you continue to grow.
Oh, absolutely.
And I like you brought up kids. Now, like we don't. I mean, we have a dog, but you know, again, my hot take is
It's basically like raising a kid.
people before you get kids. First off, we'll go down this rabbit hole for a second, and then I'm gonna say it, then I'm gonna take it back.
Okay, Dr. Henley.
I feel like there should be licensing for people to have kids. Like you have to go take a driver's test to get licensed, and you need insurance. I feel like some people, like most people nowadays, first off, you name your kids like wild names. Like it's not a name, you made it up, and it's not. It's setting them up for failure. Let's just put it that way. I'm not going to give examples because I'm gonna hurt people's feelings and not care in the comments.
Got you.
The names, it's just the like you should be taught how to like be a good human being to raise a child, but whatever, I digress. Well, so there's that, but yeah, for like relationships you need to bring something new into the relationship for it to continue to keep growing. So having your own hobbies, having your own stuff to do, like being your own person, it brings a level, like for me anyways, like I get excited to share some stuff with you. Sometimes I want you to come like golf. There's other times that I don't, but it's I get to learn some new stuff and have fun with it, and like all of that
Hmm.
good just comes back
Mhm.
into our space. So it's like don't I think people choose to be boring on purpose.
Yeah, and I mean, but also, and when you were talking about kids, the biggest thing I like we said we don't have kids, we just got a dog. The biggest thing that I've actually noticed from the outside looking in is like people lose themselves when they have kids
Correct, yeah.
because
Hmm.
because their partner isn't really there to help them, if that makes sense. So moms most of the time I feel when they lose themselves after they have kids, I feel that it's because the person that they're in a relationship with, had a baby with, blah blah blah, whatever it may be, is not stepping up to the plate to take off the load of what's happening, giving
Okay.
mom time to go take care of herself, go take a bath, go to a spa, go out with friends, this, that, and the third. Um, and it could be the same thing for dads. I'm not saying dads don't lose themselves once they have kids, but the biggest thing that we have discussed when it's time for us to have kids is that it's us two against the kids. It's always going to be that way because at the end of the day, my husband's health, mental, all that stuff comes first because if he can't be 100%, how is he going to take care of some kids?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's
Agreed.
what's the priority, right? Like the the kids come out of the relationship. The kids were not the relationship to begin with.
Right.
So it's like we have them. I chose you. I think that's as long as your significant other, spouse, or whatever, if you're in a long term relationship, as long as that person stays in that first position as your priority, again, that I feel like that enhances, you don't lose yourself, like that enhances the relationship. But then with the kids, it's like they fall in line and they see the dynamic, they see the
Like
relationship
if
there.
they see
Yeah.
their dad talking to their mom horribly, they're gonna do the same thing. But if they see their dad pouring love into their mom, they're gonna talk to their mom accordingly.
Yep.
Same thing with mom talking to dad. If mom is talking to dad crazy, them kids gonna be talking to dad crazy. But if it's the opposite, they're gonna put that love right into it. So regardless, we are off of the tangent of the kids, but don't lose yourselves in relationships, period. Always have your own going on somewhere deep down inside. Never lose focus of that, period.
But it goes back to the intention that you said. Like, what's the intention, and what's the like? What do you want the relationship to look like, and are you intentionally moving in that direction? Are both of you intentionally moving in that direction to create the reality that you want, or are you just gonna like let stuff happen and you end up in a 12 P's situation because of piss poor planning?
12
The
P's.
12 P's. Yeah.
Piss poor preparation for most piss poor performance most.
I'm gonna call nationals. Okay, let's see. What's a movie that describes your love life right now?
Ooh, that's a good one. A movie that describes my love life currently.
First of all, we can't
Uh,
this together.
We did.
what's a movie? I don't know. I'm trying to think. You know what? Candyman.
Wow.
I'm scared.
Explain.
Exactly, because I'm scared. No,
Uh,
because Candyman, it well, depending on which one you watch, but it's a story about like a rough history, and Loki, he met somebody that he was still in love with over a long period of time, but he still had a past, right? And I think right now, where I'm at and where I'm dating, uh, they have a past, and it hasn't been hard to necessarily get over that, but you can tell that there are some nuances because the past is relatively fresh. Um, and so understanding again, like what that intention looks like and how to maneuver through that. It's been fun, actually. It's been fun. But then I see pieces that I'm like, "Hmm." But I have to understand, like, yo, like my guy just ended a 8-year marriage. Like, I get it. So yeah,
um,
so there's obviously a level of expectation and nuance there that goes along with, their thought process into a relationship.
So is this the first person you've been with that is like fresh out of a marriage, or like just
Yeah.
even recently post marriage?
is it scary?
Yes. Yes, it
Really?
is. It is.
Well, you say
Um,
Candyman. I've never seen Candyman. I don't watch scary movies, so.
oh, yeah, you gotta watch it. Watch the new one
Oh,
though. The new one's
no,
not as scary.
no. You just see us when scary commercials come on. Adam's like, don't look, and I like will have to go like this, or he be in his phone because
Gotcha.
no.
Um, no, I was gonna say, you're saying is it scary there? It is, right? So I, it's funny you said it earlier. I think what I've experienced in this situation, like they came out with the expectations, yo, I'm for the streets. And then we met, and it wasn't that. It's not that. And it's going well. It's going, but and it's slowly but surely. But you can tell that um, they are treating our dating at the time. We'll just say we're dating, like going out dating. They're treating our dating like kind of like a relationship, marriage. Like we had a conversation, right? Setting boundaries. We had a conversation because I had said something about, oh, great, like he he didn't. Let's say he didn't want Thai food, and I didn't want Italian. So I was like, oh yeah, well let's compromise on something. He was like. I said when I got out of this marriage that I would never compromise on anything that I wanted because I found myself compromising throughout the whole marriage. And I was like, okay, cool. So how about you get Thai and I'll get Italian? Like, that's fine. And it laughed about it, right? We laughed about it, but that's kind of where I'm at with it. And I think that he also understands that. Like, you don't have to compromise per se. Like, I'm not against us not having the same thing or doing the same thing all the time. Um, we can, again, exist in our own bubbles, but have our bubbles together. Well, you don't
Mm.
have to necessarily infringe on our bubbles. But yeah, it's scary because there's times when you do that and you can tell that you might have offended somebody unknowingly, but then I stay 10 toes deep. I ain't gonna hold you. I might be the problem. I'm not, as I talk about this, I might be the problem, but I'm 10 toes deep in my decisions. I'm a Taurus. I'm stubborn. I'm headstrong. I'm 10 toes deep down. And so we battle it out that way. Go ahead, Anisha. I know you got something to say. You
No, no, no,
think
no,
about
no. You just said, when you don't realize that you offended somebody, and I just think back to the whole furniture conversation. It just popped up, and I was just like, I don't remember that, but okay, whatever.
So, like with this relationship, or maybe any of them, have you felt any pressure to be in the relationship? Because you said like he came out like, "Hey, I'm in these streets. I'm for the streets," and you quickly
You should have
realized
knew
that
that he
ain't.
wasn't for the streets when he said he was. You're not for the streets. You're a love bird. You love love. I can tell.
hmm
Like, don't lie to me.
So you're saying, can you repeat the question?
For you, did you feel any when you came to that conclusion? Was there any pressure that you felt to dive into this relationship or start exploring that space of a relationship, with him or with any other relationships you've had?
Um, yes, I think so. I would say I think so. When that comment was made, right, when that conversation was had, I took it as an opportunity because I knew it was so fresh. I took it as an opportunity to allow this to go slow and not to rush into anything. Specifically because, to be honest with you, I mean, I'm very like I realize it. I'm low key the rebound in this situation, and so
Mm.
with rebounds, like it's good when it's good and then eventually it fizzles out, right? Now, I don't foresee it happen, hopefully not happening. Who knows? Maybe next week I'll be talking different, but I don't see anything fizzling out. But at the same time, I also understand like I'm a rebound. You are literally going through a transition of your emotions. And so I'm okay with going slow. And so like I responded, I said, go to the streets, have fun, just hit me up and I don't want to hear about it. And literally I had again setting a boundary in the beginning. I was like, listen, when we're together, put that phone down. Whomever attention wants your attention, when you with me, we have all the attentions. But like when we separate, go about your business, partner. Enjoy. Like I get it. Like you still playing the game here, and that's okay, right? Like, and I think like again, setting those boundaries and understanding it, and eventually we probably will get to the point where like, yo, okay, we're just gonna stick. It's just gonna be us. This is gonna be an amicable thing, right? It's hard. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think my thought process is a common thought process for most people, right? I don't think I like to tell myself and tell people that I do a lot of self work. And so I try to understand exactly how I feel, what's going on, and try to understand other people's feelings as well too. In this case, because I don't foresee ever anybody else saying that to them, right? Like, oh, I'm for the streets. So, oh, like take your time, figure it out. They're gonna be like, nah, cut that shit out now. We in here, right? But then I also see that's how you go left sometimes, because you go too fast. And I think it's just trying to find the right pace. If this was driving the car, I've gotten 30. tickets literally in the last 30 days, and I can't figure out how to drive that damn car right time. It's just sometimes a relationship is like that, and dating is like that. It's just so fast.
Jesus. So then, how does that fit into? So you're saying dating with intention to be in a, at minimum, like a longer term relationship.
Yeah.
How does that play on it with this situation, this relationship now, and your intention and where you're looking to go?
Yeah. So it plays heavily, right? So I want to see this go for. Actually, I found myself drunk texting, and the next morning I was like, I got to love bomb you on this one. Um, sorry, y'all. I am not an alcoholic. I'm not speaking about. I just enjoy my time. Anyway, disclaimer. But I found myself like sending a message like, "Hey, miss you, want to cuddle. I can't wait to see you when I get back to DC, XYZ." And then I woke up, I'm like, oh man, am I leading him on right now? And it's not that I'm never leading on because I actually can't wait to see you when I get back to DC. But when they say a drunk man's mouth speaks a sober man's mouth, um, it's that I felt like I went a little too fast again, right? Like I lowered my guard in the way where I jumped into it. Now, they reciprocated positively, but then me knowing how I am, typically very logical, very slow moving, I think I might have then added a little bit more of a nuance to that, or like confusion is the word I'm looking for. Does that make sense? Like you
Yeah.
made somebody feel like, oh, I'm confused now. Like, do you want? And I can see that conversation actually coming out of this. And then I have to go back and kind of figure that out. So yeah, dating is hard, bro. Like, can we just skip to the good part?
It takes work. It takes time.
Change the movie.
Unfortunately, it does. It does take some time, but that's where all the fun is. That's like you look back and you're just like, remember that time that we argued about something so small, and then about it. Like it's those moments, or just the moments in general of just like laughing at stupid stuff, like
Hmm.
all the time that you just think about and you're just like, I remember that, I remember that. Or just in general of like your friends being around in your relationship at key points, and you can you remember these fun times and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's great. It'll be fine, I promise. So what are you looking what are you most looking forward to in your next chapter of life?
A house on the hill. I should-
Trying to get to
No,
Chicago.
I would love to actually. I was talking to my boss about that, but
He's lying. He's gaslighting us.
no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I swear I'm not.
One person, him and Khalif, are like the two people I would not believe when they say, I think
There
about moving somewhere else."
it's a house open up inside of our little area.
It's actually
It,
right
it's
on the street next to
we could
us.
be
I
neighbors.
I might have made Khalif like that, the whole jumping around thing.
He was always gone. I'd be like,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, he's always
That boy
gone.
went from Phoenix to DC to
yeah.
Texas. It's crazy.
So next chapter in my life. Honestly, I guess I kind of haven't thought that far through, but as I sit here now, I definitely want to be in a relationship, maybe on the verge of marriage, not necessarily married, but on the verge of marriage or an understanding. I would like a two household income, absolutely. That would be lovely at some point. And so, kind of like moving toward that, finding, to use the Bible term, someone like equally yoked to me or close to it. And then also understanding that your soulmates come into your life every season. So, you might have a season where the soulmate is teaching you something that you're better prepared for the next one. But I would love to have like a companionship. Yeah, 100%.
I love it.
But while I'm in these streets, I'm gonna keep doing what I do.
Goodness.
It's
Yeah,
like building a Final Fantasy team.
The streets of our town here is not enough for
all house, like these are all
Yeah.
town.
families.
Yeah,
These are
yeah.
families. This is nice area
Bring
with
your dog.
your dog, and your kids. You drop them off at the bus stop.
Oh, okay.
That's what we're trying
Ain't
to.
nothing wrong with that.
We're trying
You
to
ever?
get.
Let me tell you, when it comes to being single, you know Next Door, the app Next Door.
No,
You can find somebody on that app.
what?
So
I don't even
My
know what
God.
that is.
yeah, download Nextdoor app for research purposes. But Nextdoor is no. And Nextdoor is actually usually the community signs up for the app, right? And it's pretty much like one of those apps where they tell you
Oh,
what's
so it's
going
like
on.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's one of those. But yeah, you could put your picture up there and say something. Somebody slides you a message on the side. You know. Listen, being single, you got to be creative nowadays. You
That
know
is
how many apps I have on my phone for dating? I think I have like maybe 6 apps on this phone right now.
just go to the grocery store.
No. It's the Run Club.
The Run Club. That's what we heard. The
What's
Run Club is
Oh, the run clubs. I know what you're talking about, the run clubs. Do I
yeah.
look like I'm fucking running?
Some of the people in the Run Clubs don't look like they running.
Well, I will say this. I will say this. The one person, like, not this person, but there's another person I was dating or talking to, commuting, uh, conversing with, met at the gym. So yeah,
The
I
gym.
think the gym is a good one.
Events when you take your little dog to like dog parks and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, like Bark Social.
Yep.
But it get crazy out there.
Grocery stores.
Well, the one I am talking to, I met at a humans rights like mixer.
Look at
So
y'all.
like that was cool. That was different. Yeah.
What I think is like gyms. I feel like are not the best place.
Can you imagine? Like you. First of all, I'm pushing
Cannot imagine.
rep sets. Okay, pushing them out, and you come over to me. I can't imagine you came over to me and was just like, "Hey, what do you need,
But
sir? I
Well,
am."
the
the
way
gym
you
feels like the club when you're talking about like just take a look at our gym. Like
Do you need a spot? I don't need a
if
spot.
because it feels like there's no good time to try to approach anybody, but it feels like
yeah.
a space where you're supposed to approach people and have
Yeah,
and talk and be communal,
it's.
but it's not.
It's not.
But people messed that up really bad too with the whole culture of recording in the gym, because now
hmm
I walked up to you, you could be like, "Why are you staring at me? Oh my god, you're creeping me out!" And then it's like it's a big thing, and it didn't even need to be that. Dude was just trying to
I
come here and socialize.
I find the trick is, and granted, it's not a trick, it's just you getting lucky, is getting them on their way out of the gym.
Have a nice day.
Yeah, if you happen to both be walking out at the same time, that is pretty much the only time that you really have. And don't do it when they're at their car because then that's creepy. So you got to do it in front of people,
In front of the
like
front desk.
Yeah, I'll
yeah, in front of the front desk.
see how it goes.
Please don't.
Yeah, we
Hey,
like
The gym for me is that I would not want to be if I was
they gonna be
single.
like, "Look at this
Catcalled
big headed
that.
girl over here trying to talk to me. What's wrong with you?" We try
I would
to
accept it, but like
whatever.
I wouldn't
We know
want
you
to
would.
naturally be like,
We try to
nah.
do different scenarios that we've heard of. Like sometimes, like we'll act like we're in the club, and I'd be like, "Oh, come over here and buy me a drink." Like, what you gonna say to me? What would you say if I was just in the club and he'd be like, "How you doing, girl?" Like, oh no, you kind of lose. You just lose the flirt a little bit once you get into.
Man, there is something about meeting somebody in person, like the flirt, that eyes at like the like what is it? At first sight, and like the connection across the room. So much better than your typical swipe left, swipe right thing. I'm trying to tell you, like
I wouldn't
That's
go
why
dating life.
in DMs.
that's why I'm saying run club because you don't have to. So they do ability groups from what I hear. Because we used like
Okay.
in ROTC we used to do like running of groups and stuff. Actually, we did it even after I was in ROTC, but they like A group, B group, C group, and if you fell into those time slots, the people that are going in the C group are not running fast, so they're mostly going to be
Yeah.
like walking or like jogging
Social.
So you
and
can walk
talking.
and talk.
But then afterwards, they're all drinking and having a mixer anyways. So I'm like,
Mhm.
did you?
That's
What did
me
y'all
this type of party.
like?
Look,
What did y'all actually do? Y'all weren't. You just
So
didn't
what?
dress up to go work out or like to go to the club. You didn't have to really dress up. You could have threw on just a sweatsuit and
So
pulled up.
it's funny you say that because one thing I am going to explore going into next year, depending on how this works, is joining like the kickball league or a softball league in the summer.
I want to
And
learn tennis.
yeah, those I've
Oh.
heard good things about those. Those are great places. And then we have in DC we have a jump club. So you go and you jump rope. So it's rope, double dutch,
Oh,
everything. And they just got a bunch of different stations set up. And you grown folks are out there jumping rope because it's like it's good exercise. And B, it's like you get to be a kid again for an hour or so.
really?
Pulling their Achilles.
Yeah,
Fair.
he joined rugby this year,
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah, got hurt.
I went to a couple practices and I pulled a hamstring at like the third practice. So I was like, "Ow!" They just hit me up the other day about the spring because
That 30-year-old body don't. It don't.
30-year-old bodies of 60. Let me tell you.
people ask me or try to challenge me, like, when was the last time you ran at full speed? I could give you a date. Recently, it's been a couple months that I ran at full speed.
Okay,
So
whatever. We got to get me here. Okay.
Sorry, y'all.
Game called This or That. We did it with the couples, but it was
we did rapid fire.
We
with
did
the
rapid
couples.
fire. This is basically going to be the same thing, but we're going to get to know you a little bit better, just in case if a possible suitor is on here. They know a little bit about you. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Beach vacation or mountain retreat?
Mountain retreat.
Ooh.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
I hate the beach.
Interesting.
You must not like your feet out.
It's too boring. Actually, I love feet, but
That's a bar.
That was wild.
That might be the
that might be the tagline.
The tagline.
Actually, I like feet.
I hate the beach, but I like feet. It's crazy.
It's wild.
Woo.
I can't. Anyways.
Great. Okay. Early bird or night owl?
Night owl. Mm-hmm.
The way you be sleep at the
That was a case by case basis, but I'm a night owl, 100%. I'll take a nap. And if you ask anybody, they're like, "Yo, Meech gonna have to get his nap before he come out with us."
That's
Absolutely.
Me. That's me. One thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take a nap. Cooking at home or eating out?
If I gotta pick it right now, I cook at home, but I eat out, but I prefer to cook at home.
I don't think I've ever seen you cook.
I know that's right, but I'm cooking dinner. I'm cooking Christmas dinner. Can you believe that? For the family.
Cooking the collards.
The feet. Put in it.
A couple pigs' feet in there too. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Reading a book or watching a movie?
Watching a movie.
Okay. City life or countryside living?
City life. Give me downtown, high rise overlooking.
You already knew the answer to that one. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
That's a smart man. Gym membership or outdoor activities?
Ooh. We live in a cold climate, so I'm gonna take the gym membership. But if you keep me in the South, I might go outdoor activity.
You technically are in the South.
Yeah, DC's
it's
below
not.
the Mason-Dixon line. That's
Did you
zoned
say
in
no?
the South.
Yes, you
No,
do.
I mean it is, but like you
It's
know.
not
Don't
deep
get that
South.
cold there. It's not that bad.
It ain't the Jim Crow deep South. Pizza or sushi?
Pizza, sushi,
Steak or seafood?
steak or seafood?
Mhm.
Steak.
Ice cream or cake?
Can I have my ice cream and cake too? No. I am not a sweets person, so I'm gonna say ice cream.
Interesting. Okay.
Spicy food or mild food?
Spicy.
Working from home or office environment?
Actually, office environment. I am going back to 5 days a week come next year. I mean, in office, yeah.
Is this your choice or is this the
Oh
company?
no, it's the business choice. It's the company choice, but
Yes.
I do get more work done in the office.
Interesting.
Okay. Starting your own business or climbing the corporate ladder?
Starting my own business.
Mm.
Flexible
I know, I did it.
hours. Oh, say that again.
I said, I know I haven't done it yet. I'm been climbing the corporate ladder, but no, I prefer to start my own business.
We got planning. What we got?
All right, we'll have to bring them on for round 2 to talk about that. All right, so last one is flexible hours or living by a strict schedule.
No.
Living on a schedule.
Militant.
I am a creature of habit. Funny enough, real quick, I was talking to a therapist and they were saying, this is personal though, and they were saying how like I need to learn how to break up my routine because when you interrupt my routine, I can get very like moody about it. Yeah,
Mhm.
so
I'll tell you what that is later.
okay.
You know what I'm saying right now? Come
No.
on, it'll blow up on
I'm
social
good.
on
I'll tell you
TikTok.
what that is later. We'll talk after this. Well, I think we got it.
Yeah, Meech,
Okay.
we appreciate you coming on. You've been an awesome guest. You want to press it again?
No, I forgot to press it earlier.
Let's see.
Thank you all for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Any last words that you want to give to the audience or leave us with?
Yeah. Be yourself, be true, have fun. And my Instagram is Noop_Madoff, so hit me up.
We'll
Got
have
you.
that pinned in the show notes. This has been the Love Leep Podcast with Anisha and Adam Leeper and the love guru himself, Demetri Odom. We'll catch y'all next time.
Peace.
All right, y'all.
You didn't press it.